Stanford University. Please be seated. And welcome to the 2011 Stanford University Baccalaureate. This ceremony has a long history in American universities. The same word that refers to the college degree also means a religious service for graduating students. Here at Stanford, the Baccalaureate is a multi-faith experience celebrating the magnificent pluralism that this university has come to embody. Our speaker today and the student who will be sharing a reflection come from different traditions within Christianity. We began, as you heard, with a Buddhist call to prayer. You'll hear readings from the Hindu, Muslim, Jewish, and Christian sources. Talisman will sing spiritual songs from the African experience, the African diaspora. And Taiko's drumming blessing has Japanese roots. The Menlo Brass Quintet's music is from the Western European canon. This should feel like a festival of and for the world. We're honored to have the Reverend Gail Bowman here today to deliver the baccalaureate address. She's an attorney who worked with the Senate and House Judiciary Committees in Washington, D.C., before becoming a minister. She's been the university chaplain at Dillard University in New Orleans since 1998, following work at the Pittsburgh Theological Seminary and at Spelman College in Atlanta. Our student reflection will be given by Sam Gould, member of the class of 2011. He's a biology major and an economics minor, who's heading to the East Coast soon to become the director of youth ministry for the Episcopal Diocese of Massachusetts. Congratulations to each of you who will graduate tomorrow. Congratulations to your family, members, and friends. You should also note that there are 3 advanced degree candidates listed in your program notes who won't ever be able to take part in graduation activities. They died during the last academic year, and the flowers here on the dais are in their memory. Life is so precious and in many ways so fragile. In the midst of this celebration today, we do well to honor Emma and Barry and Chris and to give thanks for their unique contributions to the world during their short but full lives. Please join me in a moment of silence now so that we can reflect on their time with us and on their passing. Amen.
Please join me now in the invocation. The same stream of life that runs through my veins night and day runs through the world and dances in rhythmic measures. It is the same life that shoots in joy through the dust of the earth in numberless blades of grass and breaks into tumultuous waves of leaves and flowers. It is the same life that is rocked in the ocean cradle of birth and death, in ebb and in flow. I feel my limbs are made glorious by the touch of this world of life, and my pride is from the life throb of ages dancing in my blood this moment.
There is brokenness, out of which come the unbroken, a shatteredness, out of which blooms the unshatterable. There is a sorrow beyond all grief which leads to joy, and a fragility, out of whose depths emerges strength. There is a hollow space, too vast for words, through which we pass with each loss, out of whose darkness we are sanctioned into being. There is a cry deeper than all sound, whose serrated edges cut the heart as we break open to the place inside which is unbreakable and whole, while learning to sing.
A man in the crowd answered, "Teacher, I brought you my son, who is possessed by a spirit that has robbed him of his speech. Whenever it seizes him, it throws him to the ground. He foams at the mouth, gnashes his teeth, and becomes rigid. I asked your disciples to drive out the spirit, but they could not." "O unbelieving generation," Jesus replied, "how long shall I stay with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring the boy to me." So they brought him. When the spirit saw Jesus, it immediately threw the boy into a convulsion. He fell to the ground and rolled around, foaming at the mouth. Jesus asked the boy's father, "How long has he been like this?" "From childhood," he answered. "It has often thrown him into fire or water to kill him. But if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us." "If you can," said Jesus, "everything is possible for him who believes." Immediately the boy's father exclaimed, "I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief."
Sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. You used to rock me in the cradle of your arms. You said you'd hold me till the pains of life were gone. You said you'd comfort me in times like these, and now I need you. Now I need you. And you are gone. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. Since you've gone and left me, there's been so little beauty, but I know I saw it clearly through your eyes. Now the world outside is such a cold and bitter place. Here inside I have few things that will console. And when I try to hear your voice above the storms of life, then I remember all the things that I was told. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I think on the things that made me feel so wonderful when I was young. I think on the things that made me laugh, made me dance, sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes.
Amen. Dr. Hennessy, Dr. Etchemendy, Reverend McLennan, Rabbi Carlin Newman, Reverend Sanders, Brother Gould, and the other participants in this amazing celebration, families and friends, and most especially the mighty class of 2011. I am so honored. Amen. Y'all looking good this morning. I am so delighted and honored to be with you on this your special day. The poem is by Gwendolyn Brooks. It is One Wants a Teller in a Time Like This. It is gently tweaked to reflect the interfaith sensibility of this celebration. One wants a teller in a time like this. One's not a man, one's not a woman grown to bear enormous business all alone. One cannot walk this winding street with pride, straight-shouldered, tranquil-eyed, knowing for sure one knows the way back home. One wonders if one has a home. One is not certain if or why or how. One wants a teller now. Put on your rain boots and you won't catch a cold. Here is hell, there's heaven, keep the golden rule. Be patient, time brings all good things. And cool, strong balm to cool the burning at the brain. Behold, love's true and triumphs, and that which transcends is actual. Deft and determined as we Christians can sometimes be about having things our own way, I want you to know that I did not request the reading from the book of Mark, thank you, Dante, in order to try to slide a down-home gospel agenda past you all in the midst of this elegant gathering of many faiths. In fact, I selected the text partly because it gives everybody familiar route into our conversation based on the academic discipline in which you have gathered expertise. In the passage, we have a father whose son has an illness that is well described, so our medical types here can start working on a diagnosis. The son has been denied the ability to communicate by speaking, so the speech pathologist can draft treatment options. We have students, Jesus' disciples, who are botching their midterm as we watch. The professional advisors, I'm glad to hear that you have those here, can propose alternative majors for them. We have an interpretation of spirit possession, so the new anthropologists can point out parallels in other societies. There are also hints of the pathologies of the larger human society for the sociologists, a question of whether the malady is physical or otherwise for the psychologists, and poignancy enough to engage the choreography, portrait painting, and orchestrating talents of the artists among us. And poignancy is the point. The situation depicted in the story is awful. It's awful, with full measures of disappointment, despair, anger, and violence. The father's disappointment is turning into despair. Jesus is angry at the behavior of the people around him. Don't tell me he never got angry. Yes, he did. And whatever is making the boy's life a living hell capitalizes on the moment with superb bad timing to throw the child to the ground yet again and send him struggling around underfoot. Miserable child, desperate dad, tension-fraught situation. Jesus, how long has he been like this? Struggling dad from childhood. It has often thrown him into fire or water to kill him. But if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us. Jesus, if you can, everything is possible for him who believes. Struggling dad, I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief. Well, folks don't really say "whoomp" anymore, but nevertheless, "whoomp," there it is. In life, the tension is so real between what we imagine can be possible and what we are sure cannot possibly be, between what we can process and what we can't, between hope and frustration, that there's even a religious tradition, we're looking at it right here, in which a human being stands face to face, foot to foot, and fact to fact with a being he perceives to be the supreme being, and even then, faith is incomplete. Maybe you can do something, but I'm afraid of hope. I'm with you, but part of me is holding back. I believe. Help me overcome my unbelief. But what I need you to notice, beloved, in addition, however, is that while faith is incomplete here, it is still operative. It's not perfect, but it's working. This is a big, beautiful campus. But like you all, class of 2011, I know the trick of the pretty campus. A pretty campus is a plot to keep you blissed out while they work you crazy. Oh, you go to Stanford. Oh, that's such a pretty campus. It is? I guess you're right. I've been in the library for 3 days. I hadn't noticed. You have everything here you could ask for, just about. An even Steven male-female ratio, Nobel Prize winners in the classroom, 640 student organizations, folks to talk with from everywhere in the world, 12,000 bicycles, eats at the treehouse, and Marguerite to take you wherever you want to go. Nevertheless, I'm not going to roll down your street without so much as giving you a wave by pretending or assuming that everything here was easy. It wasn't easy. And as soon as I said it wasn't easy, about-to-be grads remembered several critical moments. Parents and friends remembered several pivotal phone calls. The roommate who invited confidence and then betrayed confidence. The anticipated A that came in as an unwelcome B, or horrors, a C. Love bloomed and then bombed. What seemed clear and certain became less so gradually or overnight. Events at home rendered being at school almost impossible for a time. You did not do this journey, this sojourn, this transition in constant 24/7 confidence. There were moments when your mindfulness, your reason, your wisdom, your faith was incomplete. Sincere, certainly, but incomplete. But even though you did not find all the faith, all the wisdom, all the enlightenment there is, you found enough. And you were helped enough to bring you to this day. We arrived together here at Baccalaureate, commencement eve. Something is being accomplished for you in the possibility of God. In case you're wondering, in the text from Mark, the Father's Son is healed. He rises, and for the first time he speaks. Parent and child were intervened for. They were strengthened. They were loved. What the dad asks out of care for his child is not perfect, but it is enough. This makes for a great ending to the story, just as all this makes a great ending beginning to your story. Let's realize, however, that the text does not say that the dad's faith, his mindfulness, his reason, his wisdom becomes perfect from that day forth. It does not. But it doesn't need to be. He has the possibility of Allah, supreme being, total reason, complete wisdom, nirvana, greater than there can be none. In the picture, he has the possibility of God. Class of 2011 Cardinals all and carriers of the hopes of a waiting world, I ask you to consider just for a moment imperfection. I ask you to just cleansing breath your way with me to the concept, I just need you to try it on for size, that sometimes the things that do not go as planned, the things that are not executed perfectly, have a power all their own. And part of the reason that this could be, as we like to say in Louisiana, is because of the possibility of truth total, reason complete. What, who, however we each know it or puzzle in regard to it, something so high you can't get over it, so low you can't get under it, so wide you can't get around it. Sometimes when we are trapped, as torn, as tremulous, as tested as the struggler in this story, be he or be he she, we have to do what we can. So we launch a leap too short over a gap too wide. And sometimes what was launched incomplete gets completed somehow. Picture in Matrix 1, Morpheus launching out of the building with Neo launching out of the helicopter, closing the gap. You with me? It's messy, it's imperfect, but it works, and it's worth it. Twice in my life, as you might guess from my bio, I've done a reboot. The first time I initiated it. The second time, events initiated it. There's nothing like a headlong collision with a $125 billion hurricane to rearrange your plans. But I wouldn't have had it any other way. The best of my life is in the unexpected of my life. I planned well, but God planned better. You don't have to be perfect to be marvelous. You're already there. You don't have to live perfectly, beloved, to be successful. Just be your excellent, talented, hardworking, spirit of Stanford selves, and all shall be well. If you demand a mate who is a perfect person, you'll be single. If you wed expecting a perfect marriage, you'll be sad. And if you try to run the perfect business, nobody will want to eat lunch with you. And if you come to the point when the imperfections of your parents are obvious and unavoidable, let me remind you, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. In the fullness of your lives, no one here can predict or say where your faith, whatever it is, may take you, but wherever it is, go. Go and leave your scorecard app behind and just relish the experience. Study, shape, find, forgive, struggle, weep when you need to, laugh when you can, love. Hold please the knowledge that wherever, whenever, whyever, whoever, however time and events touch you or are touched by you, there is yet and always the possibility of amen and amen.
To most people, my life seems a contradiction. I believe in God, yet at Stanford, I majored in biology. I was raised in a culture that exposed me to the social injustice of our financial system, but at Stanford, I decided to minor in economics. I want to be a priest in the Episcopal Church, but at Stanford, I joined a fraternity. To the outside world, my life may not make sense. But at Stanford, I know I'm not alone. Here, I'm just one of the many people living lives of contradiction. One of my spiritual practices while at Stanford has been to walk over the time capsules buried around the quad. Like many of you graduating this weekend, I was born in 1989. I found my birth year claims a unique significance among the capsules because when I stand in the back right corner of the quad, there's a break in the sequence of numbers. To the left, there is 1989 and beyond, while to the right is 1988 and every year before it. I always choose to walk to the right, into the past. When I step on 85, I'm reminded to pray for my brother, my best friend. When I stand on 74, I think about my activist mother graduating from high school, having lost faith in her country because of Watergate. On 66, I reflect on the world my father entered into as he graduated from college amidst the chaos of Vietnam. On 41, I meditate on both my grandfathers who served our country in World War II. On 19, I remember the birth of my recently passed grandmother, who waited 86 years to see our beloved Red Sox win the World Series. And when I reach the end and stand on 1892, I look back and am humbled. This weekend, we will join that amazing history of graduates. A speaker might wonder aloud if the next Martin Luther King Jr. or Bill Gates is among us. But for me, I don't want to dwell on our future accomplishments. When I look out at all of you, I see friends who will be at my wedding, be there to celebrate the birth of my children, and when the time comes, be there to remember me. I chose to attend Stanford University because it is an amazing academic institution with an unparalleled athletics program in sunny California. What more could a boy from Massachusetts want? As I prepare to enter the real world, I don't deny that all of this is true, but the more I think about my time here, the more the memories of the classes begin to fade, while the people I've met remain vividly etched in my mind. The friends and classmates who surround us today are the people who have made Stanford, Stanford. I know that what I will take away from the farm are the relationships that have changed my life forever. I know I will never forget the biology professor who challenged me to develop an ecological model using my background in economic theory, or the coach who pushed me not only to be the best athlete, but also the best person I could be, or the cook who couldn't speak English, but still became a second mother to me, and the friends who have seen me at my best and my worst and love me always. So as we go down our different paths in life, we do not travel alone. We carry within us not contradictions, but the community that is Stanford, the community that has made us who we are today.
We invite you to rise for the benediction. There is a divine dream which the prophets and the rabbis have cherished, and which fills our prayers and permeates the acts of true piety.
It is a dream of a world rid of evil by the grace of God, as well as by the efforts of people who are dedicated to the task of establishing the oneness of God in the world.
The Eternal has not created the universe so that we might have opportunities to satisfy greed, envy, and ambition.
We should not spend our lives hunting for trivial satisfactions while God is waiting for our efforts and devotion.
We have not survived so that we might waste our years in vulgar vanities. God is waiting for us to redeem the world. Amen. You may be seated.
For more, please visit us at stanford.edu.